Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We all know what empathy is, right? There's lots of definitions for it, etc. But simply speaking, basically, in brief, what it means is that you put yourself in someone else's shoes and you open your mind up, you really listen and you pay attention and you try and get their perspective. You step out yourself and you try and step into their shoes. In principle, that's what empathy is about. However, what I see lots of people doing is something that I'm going to term reverse empathy or anti-empathy, or call it whatever you want. It's not a problem. But what happens is that they put themselves in the other person's shoes, but they don't think, how are they thinking? They don't ask themselves, how are they thinking? What do they perceive? Instead, what they do is they put themselves in their shoes and they say, what would I do if I was in that situation? What would I do if I was him? And there's no point of doing that, right? That's not how we learn. The empathy broadens the horizons because you put yourself into someone else's map. But this way, it doesn't. You're just copy-paste, right? You're just taking your map and just inserting your SIM card into someone else's brain, and that's it. It's not the same. Now, tyrants do this a lot. I'm not saying that everyone that does this is a tyrant, but tyrants definitely do this. How is it that a tyrant can kill someone so easily with hardly any proof? Well, because they think, well, if I was in his position, I would have tried to kill me. So let me be, it's better safe than sorry, let me kill them. That's how they think. And it's the same with other people who are thieves, etc., etc. Now, some people, for example, have excessive distrust. But really that's because they're distrusting themselves and they put themselves in that shoes, in the other person's shoes, and they think, what would I do in that situation? So the first step is realize, what are you doing? Are you projecting your own map onto them? Or are you truly listening and getting an intuition for what's happening? Those are two different things. Now this isn't just a fancy word or fancy term for projection, because reverse empathy can also be done, not that you're projecting your own map onto them, but you're projecting someone else's map. So, I did business with a Chinese man and it went bad. Now, reverse empathy would be that next Chinese person I see, I put myself in their shoes, but remember what happened before. It's just the same thing. I'm not really looking. Now, most people have had this experience where they felt really ashamed afterwards for thinking ill of someone, right? And Islamically, we are supposed to give the benefit of the doubt. In fact, we're supposed to make close to 60 excuses for the person. Most people don't make more than 2 or 3. Most people, in fact, don't make excuses. They make accusations without proof. And so this whole reverse empathy thing is quite dangerous. Sometimes, however, it's very useful. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, أعوذ من الشيطان الرجيم وإن تكونوا تألمون فإنهم يألمون كما تألمون وترجون من الله ما لا يرجون. That when you are being beaten by someone, when the enemy is trashing you, sometimes we forget, we don't do the reverse empathy. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us that in that context we should. And He's saying that if you feel pain, know that they feel pain as well. But you want from Allah something that they do not want. And this always rejuvenates me, that verse always rejuvenates me. If I'm having trouble earning money, or I'm having trouble with this, or I'm looking at innocent people who are being murdered and killed in an industry, right, that supposedly is trying to fight terror, but in and of itself, it uses terror. So sometimes reverse empathy is a good thing, where you put yourself in the other person's shoes and you say, well, I'm feeling this way, maybe they feel that way as well. But when it comes to convicting someone, when it comes to not really having any evidence and then harming someone because you're just projecting your own insecurities, or you're projecting what you think you would do in that situation, then it's wrong. So the lesson that I want to leave with this video with is, know the difference. Are you empathizing, or are you just putting yourself in their shoes? And obviously it's useful as well. Reverse empathy is useful in that, you might be fooled 200 times. Well, you need to do a little bit of reverse empathy. The person, that gut feeling that you're getting, maybe you should listen to it once or twice. That would help. But know the difference. At least know the difference. And then you will learn through experience when to apply empathy and when to apply reverse empathy. But know the difference. I hope this helps. Please leave your comments, ask questions, whatever you'd like, and remember to subscribe to the newsletter. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.